Hey, good morning, my friends. MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa here. You still don't get to see my smiling face because the software that we use to broadcast live still has a problem, and it's not my problem. But you can pretty well see the next area of moisture. A couple of areas, actually. A little disconnected type storm system. 1, 2, 3 areas. So eventually later in the week, we will turn wet. But today, not bad. Some sunshine through the clouds. Okay, so let's look at what's going on here. Today is a good travel day. And I'll look at this a little bit closer with you in just a minute here. Tomorrow, we're into the southwesterly flow, fairly mild. And then the rain starts to form along a cold front here coming through the area. So Thursday looks, I guess I would say Wednesday night and Thursday morning looks wet. Thursday afternoon looks dry, cooler. And then we watch for the storm system that we'll be watching for the weekend. This is Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. That track across central lower would keep the snow in northern lower Michigan. I'll look closer at that in a second here. And then as the storm moves northeast, a little cool air behind it. Not long, though. And that's my idea that there's, slow signs of spring in here. Only a 6 to 12 hour punch of slightly cooler air behind it. And next storm system follows up on Monday of the following week. And as we go out to 10 days, we look and, we still see the reservoir of cold, but we also see the warmer lines inching. Inching is the key word. Their way northward. All right, a little bit closer of a look here. So dry today for most of us in lower Michigan. Tomorrow, maybe a quick shower or two. And then Wednesday night, Thursday morning is when rain showers develop, cold front comes through, and then here is that storm system. So the European has moved the low pressure center in the last 24 hours from down in Ohio to up to central Michigan. Makes sense. It's that time of the year where those things shift northward, and then that keeps the snow band up through northern lower in the UP, and then it quickly comes to an end as that storm moves off. So definitely bears watching, but we would have to get cold air in. Hey, Dale Schweitzer, how you doing there? We would have to get cold air in place for the storm to drop farther south and put a heavy swath of snow again across southern lower Michigan. This is the U.S. model. See how it varies. So here's our Thursday showers, and the cold front comes through, and then it has the storm center farther to the south, so it has a snow band, but it's not a very good model. So we kind of won't really pay attention to that much. This is the time of the year when the southern third, the southern half of lower can act like spring, northern half can act like winter. And today's a good example of that, with highs in the low 50s in the southern half. And tomorrow, highs in the 50s, upper 50s when you get to Detroit and Ann Arbor. 40s in the north. Thursday, big temperature spread from 58-ish Detroit area to 35-ish in Mansalona. Friday, 40s. Saturday, depending on the track of that low, south of the low, you're warm. North of the low pressure center, you're cold. And then look at Sunday, behind the storm. That's another one of these subtle signs of spring. Behind the storm for a day, you're usually colder. Bounce right back to the low 50s in a lot of spots. Next week, it's looking kind of cool. Temperatures in the upper 30s and 40s. This is next Wednesday. This is March 30th, Thursday, jumping back to 50 degrees. So that's getting to be easier to do. All right, I'm going to give you some guts of the meteorology now here, okay? So what we're looking at here is the Europeans ensemble mode for the surface temperature anomaly. And what you're going to see is that the European is the most stubborn with holding some cold on. So let's go into early next week when it wants to take this large cold air mass and ooze it across the country. This isn't extremely cold. This is a few degrees colder than normal, which says highs in the 40s. Carrie Draper, how much nasty snow are we looking at? Not able to guess just yet. Have to keep an eye on it for another day or two. Now we're into April 2nd and April 3rd, and it's still kind of indicating fluctuating between normal to slightly, just a couple degrees colder than normal. We're out now 15-ish days, April 5th, and the European still wants to hang that on. But let's look at some things here, okay? Let's look at, we're going to use the U.S. model because it's what we have, the ensemble mode of it. We're going to look at the height of the 500 millibar surface. Woo, big words, right? What that means is we're going to look at up about 15,000 feet. What you're seeing right now, so I got to pick out, I got to help you find things here, okay? So you go back. Okay, so here's Texas, here's California. Okay, now you can see the state borders a little bit better. There's Florida. Michigan's right about here. This is the North Pole right up here, okay? So what you're seeing is you're seeing a very disrupted upper air pattern in the mid-levels. 1, 2, 3, 4 pockets of cold. Now watch what's going to happen over the next 16 days, and all models are showing this, is that they can consolidate into one circulation, and eventually then that will lift the cold air up to the north into that circulation, but it might take a week or so after that. So this is next week, and this is one of those lobes of cold that keeps the stubborn cold in, but notice all of the other disjointed pockets are trying to merge together, and then as we get to March 31st, they all suck up in to one cold pocket, and let's go out to the end of this March 5th, okay? April 6th. So look, now we're at one solid pocket, which then would say that the cold is gradually shifting northward up into that, and it might take another week after that. So I guess it's just this gradual warming trend. And, a lot of folks say, hey, we never get a spring here in Michigan. This might be a year where we have a spring. And April might look pretty nice. What is April typically like? This is the average high temperature at April 1st. So let's call it 51, 52 in the south. Let's call it 50, Saginaw Bay City, Flint, Grand Rapids area. Let's call it low to mid 40s in the north. We go to April 15th. What is normal? Let's call it 58, 57, 58, southern half, low 50s, northern half, Traverse City. Let's go to April 30th. What's normal? Low 60s. So when we're talking, 5 degrees colder than normal on some days, we're talking 48 to 58 a lot of times. Not super warm, but definitely pretty nice. So there's your weather update. Hopefully I'll be back with you soon. We've flagged this problem to the software company that we use, and they say they're working on it. So hopefully soon, because I know my hand isn't as steady as just taking the screen is. So there's your weather update. I'm MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa.